UWF Argos football. Catch every game, home or away, on Pensacola's home for local sports. The Argos head to Rome, Georgia to take on Shorter University Saturday, September 14th, with airtime starting at noon. Hear all the play-by-play action right here on your home for Argos football and local sports. ESPN Pensacola 1330, FM 99.1. UWF football is presented in part by Summer Vista Assisted Living.
Today in school, I learned a lot. In chemistry, I learned that no one likes me. In biology, I learned that I'm fat and stupid. In English, I learned that I'm disgusting. And in gym, I learned that I'm pathetic and a joke. The only thing I didn't learn in school today is why no one ever helps.
Kids witness bullying every day. They want to help, but they don't know how. Teach them how to stop bullying and be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov. A message from the Ad Council.
Fall is here, but riding season is not over. It's Harley-Davidson of Pensacola's fantastic fall event. 4 days of live music with pirates, Rito's Reptiles, vendors, delicious food, and you've got yourself a fantastic fall event this weekend. It kicks off Thursday with a pirate-themed bike night at Harley-Davidson of Pensacola. The best-dressed pirate wins the booty. Plus, right now, get closeout prices on pre-owned inventory with Harley-Davidson's black and orange tag sale. Harley-Davidson of Pensacola. Let's ride.
Football season has arrived, and ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM is where the action is. Bringing your high school football every Friday night, UWF football on Saturdays, and the NFL on Sundays. If you would like to partner with ESPN Pensacola as a sponsor or promotional partner, give us a call at 262-6000.
ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
The following has been produced by Talk Football LLC. Former Florida Gators quarterback, NFL quarterback, and NFL head coach. Coach K. Stevenson has a resume second to none, and now he's sharing his insider information with you. Talk Football with Coach K starts right now on ESPN Pensacola.
ESPN Pensacola 1330, 99.1 FM. Happy Tuesday. Welcome into the program. Talk football with Coach K, Joe Ford, and Coach K. Stevenson in studio with you today. Hope you're having a good day and a good lunch hour as we take you around the world of the NFL and college football. It's Tuesday, which means we've got a 2-day break between Thursday night. I believe it's, the Buccaneers and the Panthers, I think, the first Thursday night game of the year. Should be a decent matchup there. Panthers and the Buccaneers both coming off of losses. A lot to get to in the world of college football. Yesterday dominated by the NFL, of course. So we'll be hitting the college landscape hard today and looking at what some of the area coaches have had to say, as usually today or yesterday is the time where they have the weekly press conference with local media to say what they want to say about the game coming up. Coach, let's start with this. The Saints and the Texans started on Monday Night Football last night. We had the Raiders and the Broncos following up. We got one right, and you picked the Raiders to win last night, so congratulations on getting that one right. But they looked like a team that was very motivated to go out and kind of put the Antonio Brown saga behind them. John Gruden in his press conference after the fact was, I don't know about fed up, if that's the right word, but he clearly has moved on from the Antonio Brown. It didn't work. They tried it. It didn't happen, and they wish him the best. So the Raiders are on to business, and it looked that way on the field. A lot to like from what we saw last night from the Raiders.
You bet. They were sharp, and Carr played as well as I've ever seen him play. Better maybe than I've ever seen him play. But boy, he was on the money. Joe, he threw some dimes, some passes that you wouldn't see very often anywhere by anybody. So yeah, you're right. There was a big game, big win for him.
And the game that started on Monday Night Football, the Saints getting the win over the Houston Texans. Talk a lot about Drew Brees, and he certainly has not appeared that he is close to the proverbial cliff anytime soon. Had a lot of zip on the ball, very accurate. Alvin Kamara looked great. Michael Thomas looked great. They got a lot of help from Ted Ginn, Jared Cook at the tight end spot. So the Saints are going to be fine. The Texans, with Deshaun Watson, I think a lot is going to depend on how healthy they can keep Deshaun Watson. They traded for Laramie Tunsil. Didn't have a great debut for the Texans, but they had a shot to win. Probably should have won, but they gave the Drew Brees and the Saints offense about 39 seconds too much. And the Saints came back there. What surprised you? Stood out about last night's game?
Well, that doesn't surprise. Nothing surprises me with Breeze, and he did just a great job. The thing that I would be a little surprised at, they traded away 2 number 1 draft picks for Tunsil. Now, you say, well, that was his first game. He'd only been there 5 days. But a lot of what I saw was just terrible technique on pass protection. And he got beat. Well, their whole offensive line got beat most of the time. But he certainly did not show anything spectacular over there at that left tackle position. The other thing Watson had an outstanding night. Really did a good job. Very, very, as good as I've seen him play too. He's a fine young quarterback. The thing I'd be concerned about with the Texans, Joe, is whether it's the National Football League or college or high school or the playground, you cannot have a game in your pocket with 37 seconds, I think 36 seconds is what it was, left, a team with 1 timeout, and allow them to come down and win the football game. Now, that was just awful, and that they allowed that to happen. Now, the other thing, now flip it around, too, with the Saints. Just don't cast all aspersion on the Texans. Look at the Saints. When they let them come down the field with 2 plays.
It took them 2 plays to get, like 80-something yards?
Yeah, the first, they throw a 30-something yarder completion over there to
Hopkins.
Hopkins, of all people. How are you going to let him get free for 30-something yards? And then to have no free safety and allow a shot straight down the middle of the field for a touchdown. Now that's a head scratcher. I really don't know how that could happen. I would be, let me tell you, as a head coach, I would have been terribly upset, and I would have had a conversation right after the game with that defensive staff, and today would be a very unpleasant day for the defensive coaches.
Well, and Coach, you bring up something so interesting. It is such a fine line. Number one, between winning and losing, but number two, just the storylines that come out of games like this. Because the storyline today, what everybody's talking about is the alignment of the Texans defense on that last series, specifically the play that got the Saints that extra 6-7 yards, the pass to Ted Ginn on the right-hand side, where you had the Texans, for some reason, inexplicably, playing a prevent defense when clearly everybody knew that with the Saints having a timeout in their pocket, they weren't trying, and only 6 seconds left, they weren't trying to pick up a lot of yards. They were trying to get it within a reasonable distance for Will Lutz to have a chance at the game-winning field goal.
The only thing I can think is that somebody made the miscalculation that they were going to go for the Hail Mary. And with only 6 seconds on the clock.
Which makes no sense.
Well, It does make sense, so hold on now a minute. 6 seconds on the clock. 1 timeout. Do you know how fine that line is that you could complete a pass downfield and not out of bounds, but downfield and get a timeout called? It's not likely. It's not likely. 6 seconds. Ours was 8. Our minimum was 8. If that had been me, I'll admit, a great failure right now, I would have been throwing the ball up on Hail Mary, because I would not have anticipated, Joe, that I could get a pass caught, a reception, and a timeout called that the clock didn't run out and we lost any chance of winning the football game. So I'm telling you, they made the assumption that there's no way they're going to go to pick up a first down. To pick up.
That blows me away because
Yeah.
I mean it looked to me it was pretty obvious to me that the Saints were they were keeping the timeout in the pocket and they were just trying to pick up enough yards. I mean, the coaches. I mean, with all the analytics and all the technology and everything. I mean, they knew what Will Lutz's max distance was. He had his career long was 57 yards. The kick that he ended up making was 58 yards. So for to hear that, I mean, that's really shocking to me that the Texans were thinking that the Saints would not take.
I could almost promise you that was the case. Now, let me tell you, everybody has a cutoff time.
Yeah.
And you work on these situations. They had, without doubt, 6 seconds as being too little time.
In the Texans' mind.
In the Texans' mind, that was too little time to go for the amount of yardage and get a timeout called to kick a field goal.
Wow.
Okay. So, I mean, that's their mistake.
Yeah.
That's their mistake. Would have been mine. Our deadline there, I believe, was 8 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe we would have thrown it with 8, but it would have been a real decision. But certainly with 6 or 7 seconds, would have probably gone for the alley-oop.
Well, and to my greater point is the fact that today, if that is the case, or if the Texans were just misaligned, if for some reason they just seem to allow the Saints to just get the necessary yardage there. But my greater point was, in kind of piggybacking off what you had to say, was if Will Lutz misses that kick, we talk about the fine margins of victory and just the storylines that come from that. If Will Lutz misses that kick, there's a lot of storylines coming out of that, but one of the biggest ones is how in the world did the Saints let the Texans make it look so easy to get that many yards to go ahead in the game-winning touchdown? So, today nobody's really talking about that except for probably Sean Payton and the coaching staff to say, hey, guys, yeah, I'm glad we won. But the fact of the matter is that we let an offense go 85 yards in 2 plays, and
Exactly.
if it wasn't for a penalty on the kick that was no good, we're 0-1 right now. Just those fine margins and the detail that really, again, we talk about the attention to detail and just the fine margins that separate 1-0 and 4-2 from 2-4 and 4-12 from 12-4. Those so that is that's
you're
right there.
You're exactly right, and Sean Payton would have certainly every reason in the world to be very upset about what happened there. Now, the other thing I might mention to you is on the completion that put them in position to kick the winning field goal. They had man coverage across the board, and everybody was on it except for one person. Everybody was in tight coverage except for one.
The guy who
defender.
was on Ted Ginn.
Exactly, and that's where Brees threw the football.
Yeah.
And won the ball game. He was the only one that was not tight on him.
Well, and we talk about who was going to be the guy to kind of step up or ascend into that number 2 spot, and Ted Ginn, he's been in the league for a long time. He was a top 10 draft pick out of Ohio State. Hasn't lived up to that, but he has made a career, lifetime earnings out of being just faster than everybody else. So I would think that that was probably the thinking there with the Texans is, hey, the one thing that we can't do, even though they had the prevent defense there, the one thing that we can't do is let Ted Ginn get kind of behind that initial wave of defenders. You talk about everybody was man coverage and pressed. I think is what you're saying.
They weren't pressed, Joe, but they had tight coverage.
Okay.
In other words, they picked them up at about 10 yards, 7 or 8 yards off the ball.
Okay.
They picked them up.
Well, interesting insight there. But however way you slice it, the Saints come away with the win and start the season 1-0. We had another issue that the Saints had with officiating in how the clock management with the 15 seconds that kind of screwed up there. Certainly not the level of mistake that was made in the NFC Championship game last year. But I know that there was a lot of fans showing up in zebras, the black and white referee shirts. So they clearly haven't forgotten a bit. But the Saints, kudos to them, they were able to put that behind them and get it done. But I missed that play. That was they were talking about the officiating there.
Yeah, that 15 seconds could have cost them a ball game right there. They let 10 seconds run off the clock when that should not have been the case. Okay, but anyway, long story, it's over now, and they
got the win.
They corrected
had
it,
a lot to say, but they were able to get the win. So a very close game. It was a fabulous game, probably the best game of Week 1 of the NFL season. So, again, quick turnaround as Thursday Night Football gets started with the Buccaneers and the Panthers. So as the week goes on, we'll certainly dive into that one. Jameis Winston hoping for a big bounce-back performance from him and the Carolina Panthers. Cam Newton looked very shaky in the Week 1 loss to the Rams as well. So a lot of questions for both of those teams as we head towards Week 2 of the NFL season. We'll take a timeout. Coming back, looking at college football. We heard yesterday from Dan Mullen, Nick Saban, Willie Taggart. We'll hear what they had to say in their weekly press conference as we switch gears, talk some college football. You're listening to Talk Football with Coach K, ESPN Pensacola 1330, 99.1 FM.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Don't drop the ball this football season. Make Tom Thumb your game day destination. We are your first round pick for snacks, chips, dips, and drinks. Are you tailgating before the game? Don't get blindsided. Head to Tom Thumb for all your supplies. Score big savings with our rewards card. You'll earn 4 fuel points for every $1 spent in store. From hot dogs and buns to ice and propane, Tom Thumb has you covered to help you enjoy the game. For the ultimate game day, team up with Tom Thumb, the local store for local champions.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
How good are PXG clubs? Golf writers describe them as absolutely remarkable and the best golf clubs out there. Our customers call them insanely good and say they live up to the hype. So what are you waiting for? Step up your game and enjoy golf more than ever. Call 844-PLAY-PXG, 844-PLAY-PXG, or visit pxg.com to book your custom fitting. PXG. Nobody makes golf clubs the way we do. Period.
At ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1, we are football. Catch the biggest high school football games on Fridays, every UWF game on Saturdays. Then on Sundays, get ready for big games with the NFL Tailgate Show from 10 till noon. Plus, talk football with Coach K weekdays from noon till 1, recapping the games and breaking down the upcoming matchups. It's football season, and it's on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1.
ESPN Pensacola 1330, 99.1 FM. Happy Tuesday. Long 2 days without football. We'll be back at it Thursday night. The Panthers and the Buccaneers. Chance to regroup, reset, and refocus as week 1 of the NFL season's down, and turning our attention now to week 3 of the college football season. Joe Ford, Coach K, listening to Talk Football with Coach K every weekday from noon to 1. Gator Talk coming up after we're done. From 1 to 2. So the Gators and the Kentucky Wildcats, Coach, getting started. Week 3 of the college football season, not going to really have the headline games like we had last week and what we expect to see as the weeks go on, but certainly some intriguing games on the schedule. I think one of them, the big game in the SEC on CBS is going to be Alabama against South Carolina, but Florida and Kentucky, a game that didn't go Florida's way last year, and so they'll be hoping to bounce back here, and we'll hear from Dan Mullen in just a second what he had to say. But Florida and Kentucky, Florida's looked somewhat shaky early on. They're in the top 10, back in the top 10 there, so a chance to really make a statement as they open SEC play.
Oh, yeah, and listen, Florida came through last week and cured some of their ills, certainly took advantage of that week off and came back and played well. But this is going to be huge in Kentucky for Florida. Now, keep in mind, Kentucky beat Florida last year in Gainesville. And this year, of course, it'll be up at Kentucky. Always a tough game, but this year may be tougher than ever. So should be a very interesting SEC game, yeah.
And certainly one to pay attention to as far as a sort of a local interest, as the quarterback for Kentucky making his first start against Florida is Sawyer Smith, a guy who graduated, went to Tate High School, played his football here from Cantonment. So for local football fans, high school football fans that remember Sawyer Smith, that probably a little extra motivation to watch on Saturday to see how he does.
You bet. Sawyer Smith is a good quarterback now. He was a fine quarterback here at Tate, and I think he's going to be an outstanding, certainly a very functional college quarterback.
As we both have mentioned, Kentucky beat Florida a year ago. This was Dan Mullen yesterday talking about what, if anything, they take away from last year.
How much will last year's game be discussed, and can you use that as some motivation? I mean, that was...
Not really. I'm going to be discussed within the scheme of what we're trying to do. But I don't see how it has much effect on this year's game, to be honest with you. I mean, they did a good job, won the game last year, and, hopefully we grew a lot from that as a team within our program and where we are. But, besides, hey, this is what they did to stop us, or this is what they ran on offense and defense, and here's how they made some plays. This caused us some problems. Here's some things we did well. That's about what we take out of last year's game.
Oh, Dan Mullen there. And Coach, I think a big reason for that is that so much has changed, specifically with Kentucky. They had some NFL guys, especially on the defensive front a year ago, that have moved on. So this is fundamentally a different team than we're going to see from a year ago.
Yeah,
in terms of talent, I mean.
In terms of talent, yeah. Schematically, they'll probably be pretty much the same. But, yeah, you're right. Plus, they lost a very good running back last year, the two defensive players, and a running back that was about as good as you could find in the SEC.
Florida State opens ACC play against Virginia, and that game's a 6:30 start time locally. And, Coach, we haven't had a chance really to talk much about the Noles. Didn't have a chance yesterday, so we'll park on them for a little bit. It was a close call against ULM, 1-point victory in overtime thanks to a missed extra point. Some of the miscues that reared their head so often a year ago, Florida State avoided week one, but things like turnovers and penalties kind of reared their ugly head on Saturday, week two. So Willie Taggart addressing that here. You'll hear him talk here, and then a question followed by his answer. Willie Taggart from his weekly press conference yesterday.
Coach, some of the biggest issues from Saturday, such as turnovers and penalties, it seem like there've been things that you've been pretty much harping on since you've gotten here. I guess when you see those things continue to be issues, what's your reaction to it, and why do you think maybe the improvement that you have in practice doesn't translate to games?
Well, I hate to sit here and say that it's just because it's a different team. Last week, those penalties and those things weren't much of an issue. This past week, it was. We got to continue to stress it. We got to continue to teach the proper way of playing the game. Goes back to when I said before about learning how to win. Again, and teaching our guys, again, how to win. All those little things is what it takes to win ball games. And we have to play better in doing that. We have to coach better in doing that. And then our guys got to respond the right way. But understanding that those things.
So Coach Taggart there, and Coach K, I'll ask you just a lot of things that we could take away from Saturday's game. Not really encouraging, especially given that we all expected Florida State to just really to be able to take care of business, improve on what was such an effective offensive performance, especially in the first half against Boise State. And then just some of the things that Taggart and his staff have been harping on, not just this year, not just in preseason camp, but just all year last year, came back and almost bit them. So now they go on the road for the first time. They have Virginia, who's a ranked team, and this really, to me, kind of hangs in the balance. The season hangs in the balance. There's really only one way I think this goes, is that Florida State really steps up and makes a statement in the weeks ahead, or it could kind of tailspin, and we could end up like last year, and it all starts this Saturday.
Well, unfortunately, this past week brought back some of the same types of undisciplined play that we saw last year. That cost them a lot in the way of wins. Now, they're going to have to, when you say you're going to have to work to get that done, let me tell you, you better do it, and you better do it quick. And there has to be some consequence for these players to control their emotions and to handle the penalties and the things that get you beat right off the bat. That's got to be done. It's got to be done now, and it can't wait another week. Let me tell you, they're going into a tough ball game this week. I like this Virginia football team. I think Mendenhall has done an outstanding job up there. They've got their quarterback back. They're a good football team from last year. Got better and better as the year went on, and they're a threat in this whole ACC other than Clemson.
Yeah.
If they didn't have to play Clemson.
And I think for a Virginia standpoint, I mean, I think this is an instance where not just Virginia, but other teams in the SEC, but I think certainly on Saturday, they probably smell blood in the water. They see an opportunity here to really make a statement, not just for this year, but just a program in general. Yeah, Florida State's down, and they're certainly not what we've been accustomed to seeing them in the past 20 to 25 years, but Virginia doesn't care about that.
No, it's still
Florida State,
yeah.
And it's an opportunity to kind of kick a guy when he's down, and so yeah, Florida State has a street fight on their hands, I think, on Saturday.
Yeah, for all the years that Florida State really controlled the ACC, anytime that any ACC team gets a chance to kick Florida State while they're down, they're going to do it, and they're going to do it just like they're playing a bowl game. There's going to be that much enthusiasm with it. So it raises the level of play of each opponent. There's no doubt about that.
Also heard from Nick Saban ahead of this week's game against South Carolina. South Carolina, some bad news that they got as their starting quarterback suffered a fracture in his foot, so he is out for the year. So bad to worse for South Carolina. Before the season, we were already saying that they're lucky. They're lucky if they can manage a 600 season or 500 season rather, given just how brutal their schedule is. Now they have to go about it without their starting quarterback. The biggest news I think to come out of Alabama this week has been with the start time of some games. Call it complaining, call it whining, whatever you want, but Alabama came out with a statement. This was the university president and the athletic director not happy with the start time for the Southern Miss game, which is a week from Saturday, doing the 11 o'clock start time against Southern Miss. And attendance has been a problem. This is something that Nick Saban has mentioned before, whether it be the lack of students attending these gimme non-conference games that are played at Bryant-Denny Stadium, but this is what he had to say in relation to excessive heat being a concern.
One thing I would like to say is I know it was a difficult day for our fans because of the circumstances surrounding the weather, and I'd like to thank the fans for supporting the team and a lot of people hanging in there to try to support the team. So I think the players really appreciate it. We know there were, it was a difficult circumstance for a lot of folks, and hopefully, our administration will continue to work to try to, play some of these games at a different time.
So that was Nick Saban there again. To me, it's really simple, Coach. I mean, and it may not be this simple, but if you don't want to kick off at 11 o'clock, well, don't schedule Southern Miss. I mean, that's, don't schedule games like that. Now, I know that, Nick Saban said earlier that, they try to schedule the best competition that they're able to find. But the reality is, I mean, this is not a new thing. This is not something that is unique to Alabama, these 11 o'clock start times. So I don't know what the university expects the SEC or any TV network to do about it. It's just the reality of college football in general.
Yeah, it's a difficult problem because TVs dictate start times on these ball games. They go through the schedule, and this is going to be on ESPN, this is going to be on CBS, and blah, blah, blah. So they dictate the start times. Now, I don't think the biggest problem is not Alabama's scheduling, because they have the problem is Alabama's so good, nobody wants to play them as far as scheduling is concerned. They have to get somebody who desperately wants that exposure.
And the game check.
But listen, years ago, Southern Miss used to play Alabama every year and used to beat them about one out of every 2 years. I mean, they were a thorn in Alabama's side. Now, that doesn't equate to today. I'm not suggesting that. But I will tell you that it used to be they used to play every year.
And Auburn coach Gus Malzahn, this from the ESPN article, maybe taking a slight jab at Alabama. I don't know. I'll let you be the judge of this. But he was asked about the game against Kent State, which starts at 7 o'clock Eastern time, so 6 o'clock in the evening here. He said, quote, "Personally, I wish it was at noon so we'd have more time to prepare for our next opponent." So I don't know. So, some people kind of inferring there that was a little dig at Alabama and just the complaint or statement, whatever you want to call it, against the 11 o'clock start time, because if Alabama's dealing with excessive heat, then Auburn is too. But Auburn gets the benefit of the late start, according to Gus Malzahn, because it gives them more time to prepare, according to Gus. But
he better not be worried about his next opponent. He better be worried about Kent State.
Yeah,
because they're going to come play the heck out of them, and they still have not gotten to the point by a long shot where they have an offense they can depend on every down. So they got a lot to worry about with Kent State.
There's some news and notes from around college football, hearing some of the coach speak that we all know and love from around the area there. So, again, a busy college football schedule on tap there. We'll certainly dive into more of the games as the week goes on. Again, not a huge week for college football games, at least not in terms of the primetime games that we saw last week. Really 2 games there. I think the primetime game on ABC, if I'm not mistaken, is Syracuse hosting Clemson. That would have looked a little bit more attractive if Syracuse hadn't laid an egg against Maryland.
Yeah.
I know that game day is at Iowa State as they take on Iowa. That is the biggest game. That's the biggest day on the calendar in the state of Iowa. The entire state just shuts down for that one. So good to see game day getting out to a place that they haven't been before. But when those types of things happen, then you kind of realize, okay, this week just isn't that great of a schedule in college football. But some of those weeks are the most surprising, so we'll just have to wait and see. We'll take a timeout, come back. I want to ask Coach how he thinks Antonio Brown will fit into the New England Patriots scheme. They have what would appear to be a very easy game on tap against the Miami Dolphins, but historically, at least in the most recent 5 years or so, the Patriots always seem to have trouble down south in Miami. We'll talk about that next. Talk football with Coach K, ESPN Pensacola 1330, 99.1 FM.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. I also scored a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Don't drop the ball this football season. Make Tom Thumb your game day destination. We are your first round pick for snacks, chips, dips, and drinks. Are you tailgating before the game? Don't get blindsided. Head to Tom Thumb for all your supplies. Score big savings with our rewards card. You'll earn 4 fuel points for every $1 spent in store. From hot dogs and buns to ice and propane, Tom Thumb has you covered to help you enjoy the game. For the ultimate game day, team up with Tom Thumb, the local store for local champions.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck, Bentley. That was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Tuesdays are the worst. They're all that stands between you and the downhill part of the week. But now they're a lot less worse, because Wing Tuesdays at B-Dubs are buy one, get one free traditional wings. So Monday, you may kick off the week. Wednesday, you may have a cool nickname. Thursday, you might be the almost weekend. But watch your back, because Tuesdays just officially became Wing Tuesdays. Buffalo Wild Wings. Roar! Buy one traditional wings order and get one of equal value free. Participation and promotional details vary by location. Check in with your favorite Buffalo Wild Wings to learn more about this offer.
Hi, Marty Smith here, and my friends at Marathon are really helping you save. Because right now you get 5 cents off every gallon every day with Make It Count rewards from Marathon. Plus, you can earn points for additional savings on fuel, airfare, hotels, and more. It's quick and easy to join. Just visit makeitcount.com/radio or download the free app. So start saving today with Make It Count from Marathon. Offer valid only at participating Marathon locations. Marathon, fueling the American spirit.
Talk football with Coach K every Monday through Friday right here on ESPN Pensacola 1330 and on the FM dial 99.1. Studio line if you want to weigh in, 623-1330. Joe Ford and Coach K with you each and every day breaking down and talking about all the news and notes from around the NFL, college football, and high school football. This week, we're back out at Washington High School, 2-0 on the season. They'll be taking on Gulf Breeze. That game starts at 7 o'clock, and you can hear it right here on ESPN Pensacola, so looking forward to that one. Gulf Breeze 1-2 on the season. They've had a couple of really tough games to open up the season. Got a win last week against Choctawhatchee, so they're looking to get on a run, and we'll see if Washington, who under Coach Tommy Joe Whidden has done a complete 180, now 2-0 on the season, and so trying to put together a worst to first type story, and so far the results are very good. So that one will be coming up again on Friday. Of course, every Thursday we talk to Brian Ahatz with the P&J, so he'll be breaking down all the other games along with our high school football game of the week. Again, you can listen at 7 o'clock on Friday to that. Myself and Justin Patrick on the call. Coach, we left last segment, wanted to switch gears back to the NFL, and specifically the New England Patriots, as Antonio Brown is now a member of the New England Patriots effective yesterday. So he is expected back at practice, his first practice with the team. He posted a selfie with him along with Tom Brady. So to make defensive coordinators probably lose sleep over the next several weeks if everything goes according to plan. This was Bill Belichick, always the insightful one when asked about Antonio Brown after Sunday night's win.
Bill, I just wanted to see, do you have any comment on the reports of Antonio Brown?
Yeah, so no. He's not interested in what we have to say. So a classic Bill Belichick there. But now the week is it's week 2. The Patriots are in Miami on Sunday to take on the Dolphins. So, Coach, as you've mentioned in the past, and last week we talked about this at length, Tuesday is the off day usually for the players, but Tuesday is the big day where NFL coaches really start to look ahead, although you could probably make the argument that Bill Belichick probably started looking ahead at about 10:20 Central Time on Sunday night to week number 2. But so Tuesday is usually a big day as far as installing the game plan, just figuring out what they're going to do. So I'm really excited. Certainly one of the big storylines this week will be the usage of Antonio Brown, what they try to do. So looking at Antonio Brown, the player, plus the Patriots system, the marriage there, it looked so easy when Randy Moss was there, and he was the guy that really took the top off of opposing secondaries. But Antonio Brown really isn't that guy. So I'm just curious to know from your perspective, Coach, how easy or difficult do you think the marriage will be in terms of Antonio Brown, what he likes to do, how he likes to operate versus the system that the Patriots like to run?
Well, first thing, he's going to have to run the Patriots system from A to Z, which means conduct in that locker room anytime he's around that team, on the field, off the field, is going to be the Patriot way. Now, in particular, when you get to running routes within a pattern, he can't get out there and ad lib. I can tell you that many people don't realize, but Tom Brady runs their practice offensively during most of their passing game practice, and they do not tolerate 1 foot off where they're supposed to be. I mean, if a guy's supposed to be at 10, he's at 10. He's not at 11. He's not at 9. He's at 10. Period. That's just the way they run it. If they've got, they'll have a breaking point where they want him to break, for example, on a route where you want to break the post. Doesn't mean you've got the option of 2 or 3 different releases. That also includes where you're going to be aligned off the ball or in relation to the ball. Your release off the ball when it's snapped. You can't just take off and jackleg it out there and do whatever you want to, in and out and weave and whatever. You run the route based on how they want you to release. And then when you get to your breaking point, they may allow you one juke and then the break, or it may be a straight break and don't try to juke anybody off center. So believe me, it's that specific when you get to the Patriot passing game. Now, the only time he would be allowed to ad lib would be with any other team as well, would be in a scramble situation, or if a pattern broke down and Brady had to scramble, or the timing was not there, then you'd have to break the route off and relate to Brady accordingly. But even then, you have scramble rules: deep to short, short to deep, medium, meaning the person running the deep route better start heading back toward the quarterback, and the person running the short route deep. And they have ways that they get to know. So it's so specific. I'm probably going into too much detail here, and I will stop this shortly. But just to try to answer your question so that you understand how precise their practices are, their routes within patterns, and so on, it's amazing. And they don't deviate. There's no deviation. There's no none of that whatsoever. That's why when Brady can get back, he knows where people are going to be, and he can throw the ball accordingly.
Another thing that I would want to ask you, Coach, as far as your reasonable expectations for what both Antonio Brown will produce in this offense and how the Patriots offense will look with him. Don't necessarily need a specific stat line as a projection, but I think there's some people who say, oh, he's Randy. He's going to be Randy Moss. He's going to put up Randy Moss type numbers. Well, Randy Moss, the first year he was in New England, set the record for single season touchdown catches in a season. Is he going to be like Randy Moss, or is he going to be a guy that comes in and kind of flames out? Well, I don't necessarily think it's going to be either one, somewhere in the middle. But just what your realistic expectation would be for Antonio Brown for the season, but also how long do you think it takes him to really get up to speed in terms of what the Patriots want to do offensively?
Well, that's a great question. It's going to take a little time to get up to full speed. Learn all that he's going to have to know going into the season, because they incorporate so much with their base offense that they can make changes immediately. So that's going to take some time. But he is expected to play a role, and I can assure you that before Belichick even made the call to bring him in, he had an idea of what role Brown could play. Now, it's not going to be, I shouldn't say may, it's not going to be with him going out there and just tearing it up every ball game. He will play. There may be some ball games where he's only targeted 2 or 3 times during the whole game. That'll be by design based on the coverages they're going to face. But the advantage he has here is with Edelman and Josh Gordon in there. It's going to be difficult for them to double somebody all the time.
And the thing that Bill Belichick has done so well is that, number one, I don't know of a coach and a coaching staff who adjusts in game better than the Patriots do. So it's really a matter of pick your poison, because you mentioned the receivers, but there's also James White coming out of the backfield. Rex Burkhead is a good pass catcher as well. So the Patriots scheme for a specific opponent. There's one game plan for 1 week, but they are so quick and so capable of changing things up at a moment's notice, to where if they see that you're bracketing Antonio Brown, or if they see that you're doubling somewhere else, they're just going to go somewhere else. I mean, they're gonna know your weakness, and that's what they're going to exploit.
Yeah, well, keep in mind, Brady's going to do that on every play, regardless of, he's going to know where you're doubling, if you're doubling, and he's going to go to the people that are singled up and so on. But they may design certain things, and you're right by saying they could make changes during the ball game as to, for example, how they want to focus flooding a field, a side of a field. They may do that based on how you're trying to play them, and based on matchups, your defensive backs versus their receivers, which would include the running back. A good example, White. If they could just get him manned up on a linebacker every time, they may take that 8 or 10 times in a row. So it's a great scheme.
Well, we'll take a final time out of the afternoon. Come back. We have seen everything that Week 1 had to offer us. We will power rank who are our top 5 NFL teams after Week 1 of the NFL season. We'll do that next. Talk football with Coach K, ESPN Pensacola 1330, 99.1 FM.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro Shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Highway 29 in Car City.
Dude, it's game day, and I'm fired up that football is back.
I know, but I'm bummed they don't show my favorite team on TV around here.
All right, well, what about that place Calvert's? They're a really cool English pub-style restaurant, and they have a really good drink menu.
Yeah, but what about the game?
Don't worry, they have the NFL Sunday ticket and plenty of TVs, so we can watch any game that we want.
Ooh, I just looked at the menu, and that Abbey Road burger is calling my name.
Calvert's in the Heights Restaurant and Bar, 3102 East Cervani Street, calvertsintheheights.com.
Now's the time to travel and be with the people you care about the most. And at Holiday Inn and Holiday Inn Express, we're helping you be there for less. Save at least 25% at thousands of hotels worldwide if you book by September 24th. You won't want this moment to pass you by. So book today at holidayinn.com. Terms and conditions apply.
If you're a small business owner, there's no better place to find the impact hire to help your business than LinkedIn. LinkedIn Jobs takes the time to learn more about who you're looking for and then recommends qualified candidates from their community of engaged and career-minded people, candidates who you likely won't be able to reach anywhere else. The truth is, over 70% of the U.S. workforce is on LinkedIn, and posting your job on LinkedIn gives you the best chance of finding and starting a conversation with your next star recruit. It's no surprise a new hire is made every 8 seconds using LinkedIn. So build your winning team by posting a job on LinkedIn and visit linkedin.com/sports to get $50 off your first job post. That's linkedin.com/sports for $50 off your first job post. linkedin.com/sports. Terms and conditions apply.
Talk football every day with Pensacola's own Coach K.
The key on offense is going to be whether Franks can come back and duplicate what he did in the last 4 games.
Every weekday, noon till 1 on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1.
ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1 is all about high school football. Catch the biggest local games every Friday night on Pensacola's home for local sports and our sister station, News Radio 92.3 AM 1620.
Talk football with Coach K. Final segment of the program. Hope you're having a good Tuesday. As we are rolling here onto Week 2. Thursday night, the Panthers and the Buccaneers will get Week 2 started. So looking ahead, and for the last time, looking back at Week 1, as we have seen every team play. And, Coach, time to pick our top 5 teams in the NFL power rankings after what we saw in Week 1. Number 1 spot, probably not going to be surprised by where you're going here.
No, I don't think so. Wouldn't be a surprise to anyone. It's going to be the Pats, without question.
The Patriots, number 1 in my book as well. They have the Dolphins coming up on Sunday, a team that's given them historically some problems, especially in Miami. I have not seen the spread yet, but I would imagine it would be fairly high. My Week 1 power rankings, number 2, Coach, I'm going to the NFC North, the Minnesota Vikings.
Well, I like that. I'm going to go Philadelphia Eagles, number 2. I like the way they handled that football game the other day, and they had to come back and win it. Got down early in the ball game, but Wentz, their defense came to scratch, and then their Wentz came on and played like you'd hope he would play.
By the way, the line opened at 14.5 points for Patriots Dolphins. It's since moved to around 16.5. So for entertainment purposes only. I have the Vikings. You have the Eagles at number 2. Number 3, Coach, I have the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay, I have the Vikings there at number 3.
Kansas City, they'll have to do without the services of Tyreek Hill. Still a little bit of questions in your mind about the defense, but with Patrick Mahomes, with the healthy Patrick Mahomes, he got his ankle rolled up a little bit. With a healthy Patrick Mahomes, all things are possible. So I have the Chiefs at 3, and I have the Eagles at 4.
Okay, we're about the same here.
Yeah.
I would have the Chiefs coming in next, even though I got to admit, I do have a real question about their defense. That was not good.
And number 5 for you?
New Orleans Saints. Again, I got some real questions about how their defense collapsed there a couple of times in that ball game the other day. But I'm going to give credit to Watson and the Texans and keep the Saints there in the top 5.
My number 5 team, a team that didn't have the best opponent, but I thought probably looked the best, along with other teams like the Ravens. I thought the Vikings looked very well, but I'm going to put the Dallas Cowboys in at number 5. They have a lot of talent on the offensive side of the ball. That was obvious. Ezekiel Elliott, they're going to get him more and more reps as the season goes on, of course, but I was really impressed with the offensive play calling, the scheming to get guys open. That, I think, is the biggest difference from a year ago.
Good pick. Real good pick. And I would certainly have Dallas right there, maybe 5A. Certainly there. They played extremely well, and I give them credit. I was really impressed with their whole football team.
So there you have it. Those are our top 5 teams in the NFL. What do you think? Give us a call. We got a few minutes left, 623-1330. Some other news and notes from around the National Football League. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have made an acquisition. They re-signed safety Andrew Adams. Now, this name may not stick out to you, but this comes after they placed Justin Evans on IR. He suffered an Achilles injury in the loss, over with the 49ers on Sunday. Andrew Adams played 21 games for the Buccaneers, including a couple against the Panthers, who they play Thursday night. He had 3 interceptions of Cam Newton last year. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers making a pickup there to help out their defense, somebody who's very familiar with Cam Newton and the way he plays. Quickly, Coach, in the last couple of minutes that we have left, Thursday night, it'll be here before we know it. We have Wednesday and Thursday show, but 2 teams that would have certainly liked to have gotten off to a better starts. A lot of questions around the quarterbacks. Cam Newton, how will he rebound? He's got Christian McCaffrey, a guy who is a do-it-all weapon for them. But my biggest concern from what I saw from those 2 teams was the offensive line of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did not give Jameis Winston much time at all, and Winston, under duress, made a lot of poor decisions.
Well, I think both teams right now have quite a few questions that they're going to have to answer, and I don't know that they're going to get them answered by this week. Obviously, one team will have enough to win a ball game, but It's a long season, and I've got some real doubts about both teams.
And the Thursday night schedule, Coach, just briefly here, just how difficult is it, and just kind of what the coaches are going through, the players as far as resting and recovering in time. We've heard a lot since they started doing the weekly Thursday night games about how much the players don't like it. So now that it's Tuesday and we're already 2 games away, now it may be a benefit that the Panthers and the Buccaneers get their Thursday night game so out of the way so early. Maybe they were doing some prep even before the Week 1 game, maybe.
Oh, yeah, could have been the case. Not all that likely, but could have been the case. Now, it's difficult, I'm going to tell you, because right now they need to be in that 48-hour window of game time, which means a certain amount of rest, hydration, all the things that you need, and not to mention that you've got to mentally go through all these situations again, certainly ones that you're not totally confident with at this point, Joe. So many things that you're trying to cram in at the last minute, and you've got to do it walking or mental. You can't do it. You can jog some things, but you can't be out there running too much.
Yeah, and quickly in the college football landscape, USC last year they had their first losing season since 2000. The athletic program has been in multiple scandals over the last few years. Lynn Swann, NFL Hall of Famer, was the athletic director. He has resigned, so changes on the horizon for the USC athletic department, and most likely a new AD is going to select a new football coach.
I would think that's going to be the case, unfortunately, yeah.
So we'll see what the future looks like out at USC. Coach, always glad to be here. Had a lot of fun today, and we'll be back to do it tomorrow. Talk football with Coach K, ESPN Pensacola 1330, 99.1 FM.
Football season has arrived, and ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM is where the action is. Bringing your high school football every Friday night, UWF football on Saturdays, and the NFL on Sundays. If you would like to partner with ESPN Pensacola as a sponsor or promotional partner, give us a call at 262-6000.